Well, hello there. Why do I always smile when I say it? Can I do it serious? Come on, you can do it. Okay. Well, hello there. I still smiled, didn't I? I can't do it. I can't fucking do it without smiling. Well, hello there. Welcome back. And the head tilt too. Well, hello there, welcome back. Today I'm here with the YEAR Book Freakout tag for the second time. This is the second time I'm doing this tag, which is absolutely insane to me because, being completely honest with you, I didn't think I'd be able to keep doing this for a full year, but here I am. Hooray! I just find this tag to be super fun and I am very excited to be doing this again. But anyway, let's just get into the questions, I guess. Number one is the best book you've read so far this year, and I just have to say Winterkeep by Gushing. This fucking book, my god. The Graceling series is one of my favorite book series of all time. I absolutely love it. I read the first book, Graceling, for the first time in 2011, I think. And I just immediately fell in love with it. I love the world, I love the characters, I love the themes. Up until last year, there were only 3 books in the series and the third one had been published in 2012. So safe to say we all thought it was a trilogy and it was done. But then last year, out of nowhere, out of the fucking blue, Gushing came out and said, actually, I'm writing more books in the series, and not only that, the next one comes out the following year. And she just left me alone to deal with the repercussions of that. The book came out in January this year and I immediately read it, and I was all the more excited when a few news about the book came out, such as the fact that Bitterblue and Gideon, 2 of my favorite characters in the entire series, would have POVs in this book. Also the fact that it was gonna be multiple POVs, period. You know, none of the other books in the series were like that. Each of them kind of just followed a single character. But not only that, the other POVs in the book would be a new character called Lovísa Kavenda, who is the daughter of a couple of politicians of opposing parties in this new country, new continent that we haven't gotten to yet in the series. Also, a telepathic fox and a deep sea creature with plenty of eyes and plenty of tentacles. Man. So I was just very excited and very just surprised and very anxious to read the book, and I can finally say that it was worth it. Yay! It was absolutely worth it. I loved it so fucking much. And I just love everything that happened and all the characters and the relationships, and I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I haven't said what it's about though, right? So Winterkeep is the 4th book in the series. The first one is Graceling and it follows the main character Katsa as she goes on a journey, basically. Because the thing with this book series is that it's a lot more character driven and theme driven rather than plot driven. They do have plots, but the plots are also told to move the character's internal journey along, if that makes sense. And Katsa in the first book, she is the niece of a king, and she's also graced with killing. Graced means that she has a special ability, a superpower. She teams up with the prince of a neighboring country, and the 2 of them go on a journey to rescue someone. It's very hard to talk about this without spoiling the entire thing. Each of the books follow different characters and have different themes. I'm just gonna read you the synopsis because I don't know how to explain what the 4th book of the series is about without spoiling it. 4 years after Bitterblue left off, a new land has been discovered to the east, taller, and the closest nation to Monty is Winterkeep. Monty is Bitterblue's country, by the way. Bitterblue is the queen of Monty. Winterkeep is a land of miracles, a democratic republic run by people who like each other, where people speak to telepathic sea creatures, adopt telepathic foxes, and fly across the sky in ships attached to balloons. But when Bitterblue's envoys to Winterkeep drowned under suspicious circumstances, she and Gideon and her half-sister Hava set off to discover the truth, putting both Bitterblue's life and Gideon's heart to the test when Bitterblue is kidnapped. Gideon believes she has drowned, leaving him and Hava to solve the mystery of what's wrong in Winterkeep. Lovísa Kavenda is the teenage daughter of a powerful scholar and industrialist at the opposing governing parties. With a fire inside her that is always hungry, always just nearly about to make something happen. She's the key to everything, but only if she can figure out what's going on before anyone else, and only if she's willing to transcend the person she's been all her life. I hope that wasn't too boring. But I guess if I was to be a bit more realistic and objective, which by the way I don't claim to be ever, I would have to say that the best book that I read this year so far is Blackout Unlimited by Echo Brown. This is a memoir with magical realism that follows Echo Brown's life as she grows up as a black teenager in America, as a black girl and a poor girl in America. Wait, scratch that, in the US, because America is a fucking continent. It follows her teenage years as she learns more about the world around her and about herself and her family and her mother especially. And it covers many important themes and many very powerful and raw and emotional stories really. Big trigger warning for sexual assault because it happens on page on this one, but the chapter with the sexual assault as well as the chapters right after it that kind of deal with the aftermath of the assault were just very intense, and they were also very healing to me. I sobbed in this book like a few times. I mean, look at this. I don't have to say anything. It deals with assault and addiction and poverty and racism, things that are inherent to any teenage experiences as well. And it's just fucking amazing. It's incredible. There are magical elements sprinkled throughout the story that kind of help further the plot and the messages and the themes that Echo Brown wants to talk about, because her teenage self in this book, as well as her mother and a few of the women in her community, are wizards. She shows kind of like some rituals that they do and all that, but it's a very fictionalized, surreal, magical realism thing in this case, you know, and it's fantastic, just absolutely fantastic. I listened to this on audio and it's narrated by Echo Brown herself, and it was also fantastic. I highly recommend listening to the audiobook for this one. It's incredible. I spent way too much time on this single question already, but it's fine. Question number 2 is best sequel you've read so far this year. Winterkeep by Christine Shaw. I just said that. I feel like for most of the questions in this talk, I could just say Winterkeep, but like, I'm gonna try harder. I would say that the best sequel other than Winterkeep was probably Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo, which isn't technically a sequel. It takes place after the Grisha trilogy in the same universe, so I'm just gonna pretend that it's a sequel and it's fine. I think everyone knows what Six of Crows is about. It follows a band of misfits who are kind of gangsters, and they band together to attempt a heist on this super protected and high secret place, and shenanigans ensue. I really love this book. I expected to love it, which is why it just went ahead. I don't think you can see that, but I have the collector's editions right there, and I was right. I ended up loving it. It was very fun. I really liked all the characters, especially Kaz and Inej. I thought all of the characters were very complex and very well crafted. I liked the story, and I really liked the genius of Kaz Brecker, I guess you can say. And yeah, it was just a great sequel and a great addition to the Grishaverse. Number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet, but you really want to. Ooh, there are plenty of those. A Dowry of Blood by Esther Gibson, In the Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland, Actor Age Brown by Talia Hibbert, The Project by Courtney Summers. But I think the number 1 in this list will have to be We Freed the Stars by House of Faisal. Surprising? No one. This is the second book in the Sense of Other YEAR duology. The first book was Behind the Flame, and it was one of my favorite reads last year. And I already reread it this year, so there's also that. This one I'm sure I'm gonna go to soon because I already have it, and I'm gonna buddy read it with both Rachel and Kay, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, I am very nervous. I'm scared of what's gonna happen, but it's fine, it's gonna be fine. Okay, so number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, Iron Widow. I think that was too eager. Iron Widow by Sidan Joy Zhou. I looked up the pronunciation and it was something like that, but I'm terrified that I'm saying it wrong, so I'm so sorry if I am. I don't know the plot of this per se, but I know that this was inspired by the only female emperor that China ever had. But I have to admit that the main reason I want to read this book so bad is polyamory. And a tweet that the author had, which is something along the lines of, in this book there is a triad and they literally pilot a mecha robot with the power of the polyamory. You know. I haven't read it yet, but I am 99% sure that I'm gonna love this book. It sounds like it was written for me. So yeah. Also, Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Again, don't know much about it, but Mexican Gothic by this author was one of my favorite books last year. I really loved it. I thought the writing was amazing, the themes were amazing, the characters were amazing, just all around chef's kiss. The only thing I know about this one is that it's kind of film noir inspired, which sign me the fuck up. I love film noir, so that's it. Okay, so number 5 is Biggest Disappointment, and for me this has to go to Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. This is a book of essays by Roxane Gay, and I actually put it down for now, which some people will call a DNF. I don't think I'm DNFing it, because I do intend to get back to it and eventually finish it, but it's down for now. It's definitely down for now. I went into it thinking that this was gonna be very introductory feminism, you know, I wasn't expecting anything super deep and super new, I guess you could say. But I also wasn't expecting an entire essay on fucking Scrabble, for example, which was a thing that happened in this book. And the thing is that the Scrabble essay kind of just didn't connect to any of the themes in the book, because you had all the essays about pop culture stuff that still had feminist commentary in them. This one, it was just Scrabble. Why? Also, I'm Brazilian, we don't have Scrabble, I don't know what the fuck it is, I don't know how the fuck you play it, and I still don't know any of that even after having to sit through an entire fucking essay on Scrabble. How do you manage that? The essay was so fucking boring. I feel bad for saying that, but it was so boring. Everything that I've learned about Scrabble was against my will. But beyond that, there were a few opinions by Roxane that I just wasn't really in agreement with, and her tone came off as quite condescending in my opinion. This is clearer in the chapter where she goes over trigger warnings. I just felt that her attitude was very condescending, and I didn't really like the way that she talked about this topic. I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way. I read this for the Feminist as Fuck book club. That was an amazing live show, which I'm gonna link up above and down below. The live show was amazing. It was an amazing discussion. All of the guests brought up very relevant topics and very relevant criticisms on the book, and they managed to put into words what I felt a lot better than I can, clearly. So yeah, I highly recommend you watch it. Number 6 is Biggest Surprise. I had a few good surprises this year in regards to reading. The first one is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. This is a standalone fantasy with amazing world building, and I really like the writing and the characters as well. This takes place in a world where people are essentially divided into 3 parts. You know, there is the spirit, the body and the soul, and people's souls manifest as houses, which some specific people, soul walkers, are able to enter and look for secrets or things. And basically the book follows a girl called Kamai, and she is an unlicensed soul walker. But the thing with Kamai is that she doesn't have a soul of her own, like she doesn't have a house like everyone else does. Her mother, who is also an unlicensed soul walker, hid Kamai's soul from everyone, including herself. And everywhere they go in the sleeping realm, which is where all the soul houses are, there is a black door that follows the 2 of them, and Kamai's mother tells her to never, under any circumstances, open the black door. From that alone, you already know that Kamai opens the fucking black door, and it is fantastic. I really liked it. I didn't know anything about this book other than the fact that the main character was asexual, which was done in an amazing way. I read many on Voices reviews that said that the representation was absolutely amazing, so that's that too. The characters really captivated me, and this world that A.M. Strickland created was also fantastic. And yeah, I just really liked it, and I was very, very surprised because I didn't expect anything from it, really. And the other biggest surprise that I had was the Ash Princess trilogy by Laura Sebastian. This follows Theodosia, who used to be a princess until another kingdom came over and basically colonized her land. And you know, they killed her mother, the queen, and all of the royalty and the courts and all that. They made all the survivors into slaves, but they kept Theodosia as a symbol, and you know, whenever her people do something or rebel in any way, she's the one to suffer the consequences more. Can you not? The book starts when she's 16 and she's already very heavily assimilated. You know, she's learned to keep her head down, to just follow the orders, to pretend that she pledges allegiance to this king and to these people around her and all that, until someone from her past comes back and basically wants to rescue her and to use her to start a rebellion. That was a very poor synopsis. I swear that the trilogy is a lot better than that. It's fantastic. I like how it goes into themes of colonization and tokenization. Is that how you say it? Anyway, it has many relevant themes that it goes into in a way that I personally found very satisfying, and in a way that is still kind of digestible, I guess you could say, to a younger audience. But above that, I just really fucking love the characters and the relationships. When I say relationships, I don't mean only romantic. And I also really love the world and all the different realms and republics and all that. It's just fantastic. I highly recommend it. I have no idea why people on Book Twitter and BookTube aren't raving about the series, to be honest. But I digress. Number 7 is favorite new author. I am not really a favorite author type of person. I am more of a favorite book type of person. Kristen Cashore is not a favorite new author, but she definitely solidified a place with Winterkeep. Hafsa Faizal, who I only read one book by. I may be jumping the gun with this one because I'm gonna start with Reader Starts today, so we'll see if Hafsa stays in the podium. And Echo Brown was also a fantastic author that I discovered this year. Again, only read one book by her. I think she only has one book out, which is Black Girl Unlimited. But I'm definitely curious and excited to see what she has in store for the future, so I guess that counts. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. If I had read Get a Life Chloe Brown this year, it would go straight to Red for Morgan, but alas, I didn't. Let me think. Gideon. I am Gideon's little bitch. I say that all the fucking time. I love him. He's everything to me. Gideon's journey throughout the Graceling series is just so fucking amazing. So I love him so much. And in Winterkeep, he just, again, solidified his place in my heart. So, but I think I ship him too much with Bitter Blue to, you know, use him as an answer for this one. So let me think. Oh, that's Quan from The Bright Test by Helen Huang. He's not a main character, he's the brother of one of the main characters. But I love him. I really love him. And I would 100% tap that. Not me outing myself as a 90-year-old lady, goddamn. Number 9 is Nira's favorite character. I think I have a few for this one. Inej Gaffer from Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. I honestly have no words to describe how much I fell in love with this character. I just adore her. I think she's the best character in Six of Crows. Fight me on that. Theodosia from Ash Princess is also a fantastic character, and it's a character that I fell in love this year, and this trilogy is definitely something that I want to reread as soon as possible. And a lot of that is because of Theodosia as a main character. I think she's just fantastic. She's so well written, and I understand every single one of her emotions and her thought processes, and you know, the difficult position that she's in because she's trying to reclaim an entire kingdom and she's 16 years old. She's so well written, I swear to God. Please try this book out. And you know, I couldn't go one question without mentioning Winterkeep again. Lovisa Cavenda, incredible. Lovisa hit way too close to home, not in the regard of being the daughter of politicians. Thank God I'm not that. At least this trauma, I don't know. But in other regards, Lovisa hit way too fucking close to home to me. You know, that relatability, I guess you could say, made me cry a few times throughout the book. And she's just a fantastic character. And following her along as she starts coming to the decision of breaking with everything that she has been up until this point because of her family and all that was just fantastic. And it was so well written too. I feel like I'm repeating the same things over and over again, but that's because my brain is rotten today. Sorry. Number 10 is a book that made me cry. I am a fucking baby, okay? It's not hard to make me cry. I cry all the fucking time with books. But there was one book this year that just made me sob my eyes out. I cried so fucking much that there was snot coming out of my nose. Sorry, I think that's too much information, maybe. But that book was, again, Black Girl Unlimited by Echo Brown. The pictures speak for themselves. If I were to pick another one, though, it would be How Dead the Sunrise by Sandra Uwiringiyimana. I hope I pronounced that right. There's a TED Talk by the author, which is basically a shortened version of this memoir, and I'm gonna link it down below so you can watch it. I highly recommend you watch it. I listened to this on audio, narrated by the author herself. Also fantastic. It's about her life on Congo in the midst of war, and also about the misconceptions that people here in the West have about what it's like living in an African country. She talks about both the good and the bad experiences both there and in the United States, and it is just fantastic. Sandra is such a good fucking writer. Again, highly recommend you listen to this on audio, and if you want to know if the book is for you, then I suggest you check out the TED Talk. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, Winterkeep. No, I'm just joking. I mean, it's true, but like, I'll pick another one. The Brightest by Helen Huang. This is the second book on the Kiss Quotient trilogy. The first one I read last year for the first time, which was The Kiss Quotient. This was just a very cute romance, and it was everything that I needed at the time I picked it up. It follows Kai, who is an autistic man, and he is the son of a Vietnamese immigrant, and he convinced himself at a young age that he was incapable of love because he didn't feel things the way other people felt things. And then we have Esme, who is a woman, Kai's mom, convinced to go over to the US with her, basically to be Kai's wife. She basically told him, like, listen, you never bring girlfriends home, so I'm bringing this woman here. You can stay with her for the summer, and at the end of the summer you decide whether or not you want to marry her. And if you do that, I'm not gonna matchmake for you in the future anymore. Or you can turn this down and I'm gonna keep on matchmaking for you. And so he just decides to stay with Esme for the summer. And Esme is a very hardworking woman. She has a young daughter. She's a single mother, and she lives with both her mom and her nana in Vietnam. She is just a fantastic character. Kai is a fantastic character, and I love the two of them together. There are a lot of tropes I love in this book. There's false proximity, kind of, but not really fake dating. There is a sprinkle of slow burn there, and just so many tropes. So many tropes. So tropey. I love it. And there's also Quan, Kai's brother, who is my aforementioned fictional crush. Also, Helen Huang is actually autistic, and she is half Vietnamese, so the rep for that is on Voices too. And her author's notes in her books, they always make me emotional. In the first one, she talks about how she got her diagnosis of autism as an adult. And in this one, she basically talks about how the character of Esme was heavily inspired in her own mother, and she talks about getting close to her mother and how that came to be, and I literally have chills right now. It made me very emotional, and I just really like this book. Number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year, and if we are going strictly for the cover, then it's A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabo. Christelle. Vinny, help me out. You're the one who knows French.
Christelle Dabos.
The covers for all of the books in this quartet are just fantastic. I have the first 3. The 4th one isn't out yet, I don't think. But it's just, they are so detailed. And the style of the illustration is just so fucking beautiful. And I really love those covers. However, if we're going for the entire package, you know, the whole book, the entire book, then it's Winterkeep by Kristen Gashore.
No, not again.
First of all, this cover is gorgeous. Like, look at it. I love the new covers for the series. But it gets even better when you see underneath the dust jacket. Because there is a fucking fox here. It's adventure. The fox character has a POV and I love him. I love him. And the end papers are also little foxes. And it's just, oh, it's gorgeous. It's fucking gorgeous. I'm also really fond of the overall look of Read the Stars by Hafsa Faisal. This cover, again, very pretty. Love the colors. And then under the jacket, I love it. Number 13 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And the answer is so many. But last year I just vomited a bunch of books a year and I barely read any of them. So this year I decided to try to keep it, you know, at a minimum. So I narrowed it down to only 3 books that I need to get to by the end of the year. And I'm In the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I really need to read this. I've had this on my shelves for years now, and I also have the following 2 books in this quartet. So the second one is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I have this and the second book in the trilogy with me. I've been meaning to read this for the longest time, and the reason why it's taking so long is just that I'm kind of trying to prepare myself psychologically, because I've heard it's quite heavy, and you know, there are a lot of trigger warnings for this one. So I'm just kind of waiting until I'm in the right frame of mind, I guess you could say. And the last one is The Fifth Season. That's hard to say. The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Don't know much about this. I know there are 3 POVs. One of them is a woman whose daughter has just been kidnapped and whose son has just been murdered. Another is in second person, and the other one I don't really know who that is. And I know that it's kind of post-apocalyptic. It takes place in a world where there is a thing called the Fifth Season, which is basically the end of the world, and there is polyamory in it. And by this point I'm sure that you realize the magic word for me is polyamory. You say polyamory and my interest is immediately piqued. So yeah, that was the mid-year book freakout tag. I am so happy to still be here 1 year later, and I want to thank you all for sticking with me and for watching the videos and for engaging with me in the videos and talking about books with me. It's just been a fantastic experience and I'm very thankful for it. Enough with the corny shit. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment and subscribe if you feel like it, and as always, I'll see you around.